Okay, so who ordered the Nemesis steak well done? Hello everybody, today I thought I would do something a little bit different. Do not worry, the reviews are not going anywhere and they're still my favourite type of videos to make on this channel.
Welcome to a brand new beginning, you sorry shits.
As I stated in the 100 subscriber celebration video, I'm going to start branching out and doing different types of videos. One of those is talking about certain characters in some of my favourite franchises.
It's magnificent.
For me, there is no better place to start than Resident Evil. So let's talk about one of my favourite characters in this horror gaming franchise. A character that terrified many of us as kids, was a nightmare to face, and brought new meaning to survival horror. Before we start though, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for all new content.
Back and to the left. Back and to the left.
Resident Evil has had a lot of memorable villains and monsters.
Zombies and monsters.
From the series beginning in RE1, the most recent game being RE8 Village, and later this year, the remake of RE4.
Oh, it's beautiful.
There are some we love, some we hate, and some that scare us worse than being forced to watch a YouTuber's movie. Why are these always so bad? Villain-wise, my favourite is Wesker. He has such a massive impact on the series as a whole, and he's the ultimate puppet master of so many events within the RE universe. But in terms of monsters, it's really hard just to pick one. You have the original Tyrant, Mr. X, rest in peace DMX, X gon' give it to ya.
Oh, hell no!
William Birkin, the Regenerators, the Hunters, the Lickers, even the Lycans from RE8. I could go on and on for days, but there is one monster that terrifies me the most, and still gives me a little bit of fear and anxiety, and I can sum up this monster with one word. Ah yes, Nemesis, or Nemi as I have nicknamed him. He's also nicknamed the Pursuer. Nemesis is truly one of the most memorable and scary characters ever put into a video game. He is a true force of nature and a relentless chaser throughout all the entirety of RE3. I still remember after beating RE2 many years ago, going on to RE3 for the first time, and then meeting Nemi, and I took one look at him as a kid and went,
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
I was terrified of him. So how do we get to Nemesis in terms of the RE game stories? Nemesis was the result of perfecting the Tyrant process. By this point we had two different types of Tyrant. The first in RE1, the T002, or Mr. Claw over here, and the T103, or Mr. X if you prefer, in RE2, who's a vast improvement in many ways, but most importantly that fashionable leather coat. The coat was basically a limiter to prevent further mutations, and eventually he would turn into this. However, both Tyrants met their ends by rockets.
Oh no!
Now, on to Nemesis. He was a Tyrant with a massive difference, that difference being the Nemesis Alpha parasite. This parasite was injected to increase the intelligence of Nemesis, giving huge regeneration abilities, which results in Nemi being pretty much resistant to any kind of damage.
Yes! I am invincible!
However, there are some side effects from this parasite, including a lot of damage to his skin and the emergence of additional tentacles. He also is the first Tyrant to talk.
Hello!
And he can use weapons such as a rocket launcher, which I almost feel is like a middle finger to the previous Tyrants being destroyed by rockets.
I'm stronger, I'm smarter, I'm better! I am better!
Now for the game itself. Just for reference, I will only be talking about his appearance in the original Resident Evil 3. I will talk about the remake one day when I review the remake of RE3, but for now I just want to focus on the original. Nemesis makes a huge impact right off the start. The game's subtitle is dedicated to him, and he's already on the main menu title screen. We haven't even started the game yet, and he's already making me scared.
I don't get nervous, but I'm starting to get a bit shaky, you know? I mean, I'm a little bit weird.
But anyway, the game's opening does a really good job of building him up. You know he will appear, you just don't know when, how, and what he will do. Even when Jill comes across Brad, he simply just says,
Listen, he's coming for us. We're both gonna die.
So we know he's after them and what his goal is, the extermination of stars, as they hold huge amounts of knowledge and information about the Spencer Mansion incident in RE1, which if leaked, could cause a huge amount of damage and problems for Umbrella.
Why are you the way that you are?
So in order to silence the STARS members, Umbrella sends Nemesis to eliminate them. I mean, this has to be kind of a win-win scenario for Umbrella. They get a chance to test out Nemi's capabilities and eliminate STARS, kill two birds in one stone.
Yeah, boy.
But by this point, the only two star members left in Raccoon City are Jill and Brad, with the city being overrun by zombies and other horrible monstrosities. After saving Brad from a zombie, he simply says to Jill that he is coming for them and they are going to die within Raccoon City. It's a terrifying build-up. Then Jill arrives at the police station. Brad also arrives, but he's clearly injured. And then he arrives.
I gotta tell you, it was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
Nemesis makes a fantastic impression right off the bat. He jumps out of nowhere and kills Brad by putting one of his tentacles through his skull. That is just brutal. Though, if we're being honest, Brad kind of deserved this after leaving everyone in RE1. So, in a way, thank you, Nemi? He turns around to Jill and says his iconic line,
Say the line.
Nemesis.
Before I talk about how he is in the rest of the game, let's talk about the design of Nemesis. The long black trench coat, the scarred stitched left eye, the parasite-like tentacles sticking out of his shoulders, and that horrible skull-like face. To me, I've always thought Nemi is kind of a fusion of the Grim Reaper mixed with the Terminator. Granted, he's not a robot, but he kind of acts like one in a way. Like the Terminator, he will let nothing stand in his way of accomplishing his mission. It is a scary design that strikes the right amount of fear and dread whenever you come across him. I mean, the name Nemesis does come from the goddess of vengeance from Greek mythology. It's an absolutely perfect name for him.
You've got a real bounce to your step. I'll bet you're quite the acrobat.
From here, Nemesis has a huge presence throughout the entirety of RE3. To say he is a difficult antagonist to take down is putting it extremely lightly. He is tough and he can be put down with the right amount of ammo, but he never stays down for long. He's fast, has some devastating attacks, and can deal huge amounts of damage. If you choose to take him on, which is about 10 or 12 times throughout the entire game if you choose, be prepared for the fight of your life. Most of the time, running from him is the best option, but even that does not work for long because he will catch up to you eventually, getting more and more deadlier on each encounter. I gotta say, I absolutely adore his song. There are not many things more terrifying than walking out of a same room and hearing that song playing. One of my favorite scenes for Nemi is the cable car scene. Mikhail sacrifices himself, blowing Nemi up in the process and shucking him out of the train. What an absolutely badass moment. Later on, we end up at the clock tower with a helicopter in sight for escape from the nightmare city in question. However, Nemi dashes those hopes with his signature rocket launcher. I find this scene so unintentionally funny. The music builds up, Jill says it's finally over, and then Nemi just pops out of nowhere and goes, haha, no fool, you're not going anywhere.
Who the hell do you think you are?
So we have the fight at the clock tower itself. Before the fight can kick off, Nemi infects Jill with one of his tentacles, and not the weird Japanese way, infecting her with a version of the T-virus. Jill and Carlos take him on and manage to cause him a lot of damage.
No, that's a lot of damage!
But he's not down for long, as we next come across him as Carlos, who is bringing the cure back to Jill. He smashes through the wall in the clock tower, and you can really see the damage on him.
Open the door! Open the door! Open the door!
As a result of the last fight, he loses his trench coat protecting him, and he mutates even further, gaining longer extendable tentacles than before. Now the main limiter is off, Nemi is even worse than before, and you can really see the damage that was inflicted to him on his body from the previous fight.
You look terrible.
The next big rematch is at the Umbrella Waste Disposal Factory. It's a tough fight for sure, but Nemi is dissolved in corrosive acid. You basically take him apart slowly piece by piece. First his tentacles, then his right arm, and finally his head. His body is completely torn apart, and Nemi is released into a pit containing even more acid.
Look, you stupid bastard, you've got no arms left. Yes, I have. Look!
So you think surely at this point that is the end of him, right?
Nope.
While trying to find a way out of Raccoon City before it's destroyed, Nemi returns again. At this point, his body has fully lost control, mutating into this true horrible abomination. He's even larger than before, more tentacled, and he absorbs a nearby dead tyrant and becomes even more horrifying.
Fuck.
I mean, man, I love the design of this thing, but what even is this? It looks like something that will belong in the Aliens franchise. Kind of a full circle moment turning into the very monster and the very parasite that was used to create him in the first place. Or it looks like a giant monster frog, whichever floats your boat.
Ding 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 ding.
He can also now spew acid from his mouth, which really does a lot of damage. Luckily for Jill, there is a prototype railgun right near her, and she uses it to defeat Nemi once and for all. So surely at this point he's dead, right?
And as you can see, I am not dead.
Nope, he's still kicking. After being riddled with bullets, acid, and shot at full blast with a railgun, he is still moving.
Why won't you die?
Jill finally puts him down with a magnum gun and gives one of the most badass lines in the end of a video game. Finally putting Nemi down for good. Jill and Carlos escape Raccoon City as it's destroyed, and Nemi is gone too. I do wonder though if he still survived after those magnum shots. It's unlikely, but after all the damage he's gone through, I mean a gun taking him down at the end, it makes you wonder.
Oh no. Anyway.
To say Nemesis is a fantastic monster and the poster child for a great chaser / pursuer enemy type in later horror games is an understatement. I can't think of many enemies that have topped nor beaten Nemi in that regard. To me personally, he is as close to a perfect enemy in a survival horror game as you can make. There's a reason why people are still talking about him years later. I truly think he brings a type of fear and anxiety to a game that not many games really achieve that well. He deserves his place as one of the most iconic villains in Resident Evil. We all love you, big guy. I'd love to hear all your thoughts about Nemesis in the comment section though, what your thoughts on him in general. I just thought, maybe Nemesis is just a big fan of Starburst. That's why he keeps saying stars all the time. Starburst.